There's nothing worse than getting to the end of a liquid-cooled system and finding out there's a problem with one of the components in the loop. In this case, it is one of the pumps. And if it were the pump at the front here, it wouldn't be so bad because I'd just drain the front loop and then I'd be able to unscrew the pump off the bottom. I'd only need to remove this tube at the front here, but it's the pump at the back. And this is a problem that I've run into a few times, mostly with D5, but a little bit with DDC, where the pump is just a little bit loud. Well, it's actually a lot loud. Take a listen. So it's quite a whine, and if I disable the loud pump, if I disconnect it, so you can't even hear the other one. That's what they should both sound like. The other one, the loud one, is at least, I don't know, 5 times louder than this one. It's much louder than it should be. So yeah, usually I just replace them and then it is all good. So that's what we're going to be doing here. I need to drain both loops. And this dual pump and res combo assembly is quite an epic achievement in this build. This build is heavily modified. There are a lot of panel mods: front panel, top panel, motherboard tray, power supply shroud. It's all custom and there's really not much space in here. You can see the power supply shroud comes all the way out to here. We have the dual reservoir mounts. We have all of these fittings at the top and at the bottom, which are all going to have to be removed, and all of the tubes that are connecting, all 4 of them, and also these assemblies at the bottom here, it's all going to need to come out. So I would say that this will take me an entire day just to drain both of these loops, swap the new pump in, put it all back in, and then refill. It's going to keep coming too. These radiators, never empty.
It's like when you're peeing at 3 in the morning, there's always something else coming up. Leave it one more drop and then...
Don't know why it's so tight this time, eh? So all of the components are back in the build, and I've filled both of the loops, and they're now just leak testing and getting the air out. So I put a couple of extensions on the fill ports to fill these just to be safe, because yeah, you don't want it overflowing down at the same level as the top panel. But yeah, having those fill ports up there are definitely helpful. Fill ports are just great. They make things so much easier. So is it quieter? I mean, have we spent an entire day replacing a pump for nothing? You know, maybe there is something else causing this. Like, is it just echo because it's right down there in that corner surrounded by aluminium panels? Or maybe it's vibrating against something. But if you take a listen, it is definitely quieter. Both pumps are now exactly the same volume. And there's still air in the loop, so it's going to get a lot quieter once all of that air is out. Now this build has been the most difficult custom cable job I have ever done. The 24-pin cable has a bunch of different lengths on it to get it to work, and we built the 24-pin cable 4 times to get it right. But you can see how tight it is down in there. I'm in the process of plugging in the last of the connections. I've already plugged in the Aquaro 6 XT, which is just here. You can see that just there is the Aqua bus, and then over the back there, which you probably can't even see, we have 3 temp sensors, we have USB, we have power, then we have the 2 fans. So, you know, there were all those to plug in. And now I have to be really careful to get my hand in here without knocking anything on the Aquaro and unplugging it.
Behind you?
So these are certainly some of the easier cables, far more cooperative.
They're already trained and bent from before. That makes things a little bit easier the second time.
Yeah. Now I've got to make sure that I follow what I've done underneath. So that 8-pin.
Should I hold the torch for you?
No, it's okay. Once I get it in.
There we go.
Nice and easy.
This could be a very long or very short video, depending on your luck, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And we have still some issues here to work through. I'm just making sure that I've got, I think the 2 6-pins go at the back, and the 2 8-pins at the front. Yeah, that's at the back. So I had all of this exactly how I wanted it just before, and now I'm having to redo it. Okay, now for the 24-pin. Certainly a lot easier when the build is on its side. Now if I pull too hard on this, it's going to break the split. So I have to... That's why sometimes we usually make the splits at 100 mil. But sometimes in a situation like this, you have to put the split a bit further away from the end. And you also sometimes have to make the 2 wires coming out of the split different lengths, because you can see at the moment this one's really bent, even though I've already made it shorter than the other one. Now this one is just a nightmare to get in for some reason. So the reason for this is we're just trying to fit a lot of high-end components into a very small case. And that would be fine if everything was stock and it wasn't liquid cooled. You know, it's just an air-cooled system. It would be easy. You walk in the park. But because all of these cables are custom, every single wire strand is custom built from the ground up. We have all of the case mods. Actually, I just noticed this here and this melt here. We're going to have to redo those two. But they're pretty easy to get out, so we can just do that after. But the other one has somehow popped back out. Hang on. No, it's alright. It's only a small gap.
It's either the camera or your fingers.
This one just won't click.